press the record button on the Ustream side. So if you guys can hear me, please press a 1. I don't hear my own self. I don't hear the echo on my end anymore. So, yeah, if we can get things going, that would be good. Talk about 13 minutes down the drain. My apologies. I blame my cousins. If you guys can hear me, please press 1 if you can hear me clearly, no echo, no nothing like that. If you can hear me, please press a 1. That's pretty much all I can say. You guys don't hear me. Oh, now I know why you don't hear me. Okay. Oh, God. Y'all been hearing me ranting on my cousins for like 2-3 minutes. Okay. You guys should be able to hear me now. If so, please press a 1. Let's try this one more time. If you guys can hear me, please press 1. I just want to make sure the people in the chat room can hear me now. Press a 1 if you can hear me. Press a 1 if you can hear me. Because I don't want to be talking and y'all can't hear me. Before I go any further, before I get the show on the road, I want to get things going. So, off to a rocky Thursday night. 14 minutes in. I done everything else. I got the mixer thing on. I turned my mic on. So you all should be able to hear me. Alright, good. My apologies to Dr. Myth, to Brownie Master, to Rocket Man, and to Fozzie. My cousins pretty much touched my mixer during Thanksgiving week. On Thanksgiving Thursday, they were touching something they wasn't supposed to touch. I may have to put a big fat sign that reads, "Do not touch the mixer." So, now that that's out of the way, yes, I noticed. I sounded like I was in a cave because of my settings wasn't on where it's supposed to be on. And I blame my cousins for that. I blame my cousins from Augusta, Georgia. So, let's not waste any more time with my rant over my cousins. This is a wrestling show. I'll get to as much WWE as I can before the guest calls in. I want to get to the first topic of the evening. The first topic is Daniel Bryan, who Michael Cole called a hypocrite. Dr. Myth, you prick. Put a sign says, touch and lose part of your anatomy. Anyway, Daniel Bryan, last Friday on SmackDown, he wanted to take advantage of a situation. See, what Daniel Bryan did is, after Big Show punched Mark Henry in the face, after he punched Mark Henry in the face, Daniel Bryan, Mr. I'm not going to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase until WrestleMania, decided to cash it in. And if you looked at that segment, it took Daniel Bryan 5-10 seconds to finally roll Mark Henry over so he can go for the pinfall. He goes for the count 1, 2, 3. He becomes the new World Heavyweight Champion. And then Teddy Long comes in, lets him know, "I'm sorry, player, but what you did was wrong, player. Mark Henry wasn't cleared to compete. Therefore, the ruling was overturned. Mark Henry was still World Heavyweight Champion. Luckily for Daniel Bryan, he had a chance to redeem himself later that night when he won the Fatal 4-Way, went on to become the number one contender for this past Tuesday's World Heavyweight Championship. And I'll get to that a little bit later, if I can. I may not even talk Impact at all, because to tell you the truth, I didn't even watch Impact because of Thanksgiving, family, and I also spend time with the family and watch some football. I didn't even watch Impact, and I didn't do it on purpose. But I do have the results of Impact, so I may talk little TNA tonight. So it's just one of those nights, I guess. That's the fastest I've saw Teddy win. One for Mark Henry. He can win all he want. He ain't gonna keep up. So if I remember right, Bryan still had that briefcase after being interviewed by Michael Cole. Yes, he still does. Mark Henry still had the World Heavyweight Championship. Daniel Bryan still has the Money to Bank intact because it wasn't official because of Mark Henry not being medically cleared to compete. After all, he did have his ankle clobbered by Big Show at Survivor Series, which why he had the foot brace. He had the foot brace. That's why. And then of course Michael Cole interviewed Daniel Bryan on Monday night, called him a hypocrite. I mean, he is right. Say what you want about Michael Cole, but he is correct. This man, Daniel Bryan, went on national television and said that I'm not going to cash it in until WrestleMania. And since then, he has attempted to cash it in on Mark Henry not once, but twice. And it also rounded the, what's his face? Big Show. So, there goes the surprise element. But Daniel Bryan was on to something when he said, this man tried to end my career, so I did what I had to do. Cashing in, become the World Heavyweight Champion. Unfortunately for Bryan, it didn't work out that way. So after he won the Fatal 4-Way, he had a chance to redeem himself this past Tuesday night on SmackDown, a holiday edition of SmackDown. And Mark Henry, World's Strongest Slam off the top rope, off the second turnbuckle, and he picked up the win. So now it's all set for TLC. It's going to be Big Show versus Mark Henry for the World Heavyweight Championship one more time. And that will be at the TLC pay-per-view, which is over 2 weeks away. And yeah, there were some funny moments on the holiday edition of SmackDown. Michael Cole was dressed up like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And then Kofi Kingston took off that ridiculous Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer out of a mask or whatever it was. He took off the deer thingies. He took out the deer thing, used it for himself to defeat Tyson Kidd. Josh Matthews dressed up like an elf. Booker T dressed up like Santa Claus. Booker Claus, I like to call him. So there you go. It was just it was a mess. It was a crazy. Mick Foley, I will say this, he did a better job on SmackDown than he did with that This Is Your Life segment 2 weeks ago. I will say that. Maybe Mick Foley got a little too overexcited over Rock and Cena, then he ended up doing that This Is Your Life thing, and that segment was out of control. Maybe it was the excitement that he came back to the WWE, aligned himself back with the WWE, no longer being on TNA and Impact. Maybe it was that. And Booker T was supposed to face Cody Rhodes at the holiday show, but Cody Rhodes attacked him from behind. That didn't happen. I'm thinking they may save that for SmackDown next week, or maybe for the TLC pay-per-view. I don't know. Who knows? I think something interesting could happen there. So who knows? David Otunga, he didn't have a good night. Miracle on 34th Street fight against Randy Orton. He keep wanting him into trees and stuff. Of course, Randy handled his business. And CM Punk, what he said about him was funny, saying, when I Google search David Otunga, I get Jennifer Hudson in response to his award-winning wife from American Idol and Dreamgirls and all that stuff. That was funny. Speaking of which, you know what's really probably the most ridiculous moment of that holiday special was that Miles stole on the pole match between the Divas, and one of the Bella twins went on to win that match. And one of the Bellas acted like, I'm getting a title shot at the Divas Gold, and Teddy Long had to remind the Bella that no, you're not getting a title shot. You get a kiss, anyone. And since the Bellas twins been flirting with Alberto Del Rio as of late, I'm assuming that's the person that she's going to kiss, Alberto Del Rio. I want to get to the John Cena and Roddy Piper segment from this past Monday night. I want to get to the whole Cena and Piper because that was intriguing. That was interesting. You know, first you got to deal with the boo reaction. Now you got Roddy Piper trying to straighten him out. He's pretty much saying to Cena, you got to make up your mind. You want to be the good guy, you want to be the bad guy. You got to make up your mind. You can't be this, you can't see me. You can't be, corporate and be like, you know what, the fans are entitled to their opinions. They can say what they want. I'm not bothered by it. That has been the question for the last week or two since Survivor Series. Is the crowd reaction finally starting to get to John Cena? 12-time world champion. He gets smacked in the face by Roddy Piper. He even gave him his own Hall of Fame ring. And then when he gets slapped in the face, Cena gives him the ring right back and walked away. I think Piper was trying to get to Cena, and it didn't work. It didn't quite work. I said this on the show 2 weeks ago when Jeff and myself was making our picks for Survivor Series. I said Cena's going to turn heel at some point. He's not going to be the fan favorite when he takes on The Rock at WrestleMania next year. So you might as well just make him a heel now. If not, then at least at TLC pay-per-view. You might as well make him a heel. I'm a Cena fan. I'll cheer for him no matter what. But at some point, look at Randy Orton, for example. He was a bad guy for 5, 6, 7 years, and now he's a good guy. You can't be a certain character for the rest of your life. You gotta, it's one way or the other. He gets the mixed reaction everywhere he goes. Even if his hometown of Boston, he had the mixed reaction. Look, it's pretty obvious the fans are half of the fans gonna cheer for him and the other half are gonna boo for him. Cena has to make up his mind. A lot of people in the chat room saying that he's gonna turn heel. I'm saying he's gonna turn heel too. Sometimes you gotta do what's right for you. Gotta do business. It can't just be a moral or ethnic decision. It has to be a business decision. If Vince McMahon came up to him and said, John, you're doing great as a good guy, but you gotta be a bad guy. Vince McMahon or somebody in the front office has to look up to him and say, John, I understand he wants to stay to that good guy. He has the Make-A-Wish Foundation and all that stuff. I understand that probably will have an effect on his character, on his real life character. He has the Make a Wish Foundation. He's got these other charities and stuff. I understand that, but fans are pretty much wearing off the whole good guy thing. You got to be a bad guy at some point. He's got to be a bad guy. Be a heel. Dr. Myth said that Vince won't turn Cena heel. Vince only cares about the money. That is true, but sometimes you gotta do things that you don't think is a good idea. You gotta do things, it's all about business. It's not about somebody's feelings. It's all about business. He's gotta put his ego to the side what he feels. He's gotta put his money and ego to the side and make Cena a heel. You can't look. Randy Orton was a bad guy for 5, 6 years. He finally turned into a good guy. You can't be a certain character for the rest of your life. Now that could be the reason why he's not a heel, and that also could be because of the foundations, the charities, and all that other stuff. My guest at this time is calling in. Let me get her onto the call here. I had problems with Skype last week. Hopefully things gets a lot better. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest at this time, former OVW wrestler Jennifer Thomas, is joining me right now on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. Good evening, Jennifer.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm had a rough start because of some technical difficulties, but I'm feeling a lot better. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Doing good. It's smooth sailing for me over here, so everything's good on my end.
That's good to hear. Thank you so much for being our guest this evening. Um, so Jennifer, why don't you go ahead and tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and how did your wrestling career got started?
Sure. Basically, I used to live up in Seattle, Washington, and I got the fitness craze and basically wanted to get into fitness and bodybuilding, and there was no better place to do that than Venice Beach, California. And so I packed up my car and took off to Venice Beach and trained at the famous Gold's Gym. And while training, I would see a lot of the pro wrestlers come through there. And to be honest with you, I've never really been a huge fan of wrestling. I never really watched it. But I would kind of like know who these figures were just by, occasionally turning on the TV and whatever, this and that. And they would come and talk to me and tell me that I should try wrestling. And I kind of like laughed at them and I kind of shrugged my shoulders and I said, yeah, right, that's fake and it's a bunch of baloney, forget it, and shrugged it off and figured I'd just keep on doing my bodybuilding and fitness and stuff. Well, later down the line, I was getting burnt out on this fitness stuff because it was just really hard to diet 24/7, and I decided to give wrestling a try. And I'll tell you what, it's very, very, very difficult, and it was the most challenging thing I've ever done in my life. And that's how wrestling started for me. So basically, it went from fitness to bodybuilding to wrestling, and I love it. I actually became very, very passionate about it, and I've been sticking with it ever since 2003 to today. So, it's something that I never was a fan of then, but I'm definitely a fan of now, and I have a great passion for it, and I never want it to leave my life. So.
Now, you are mostly known for being on OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling, under the stage name Chloe. You've been there for a couple of years. You competed against wrestlers such as ODB from TNA and Shelly Martinez, former WWE and TNA wrestler. What was the experience like being a part of Ohio Valley Wrestling?
Well, before I went to OVW, I actually went to Deep South Wrestling with Bill DeMott for a few months. And from there, I went to OVW. And I'm a firm believer if you want to improve your talent and improve your skill, you have to go where the best are. And that's why I went to Venice Beach for fitness and bodybuilding, and that's why I went to Deep South Wrestling and OVW for wrestling, because it's because that's where the best is. So I felt very grateful that I was able to be there and train with the people that are under contract and train with people that are better than I am. And to wrestle Shelly Martinez, she's quite the screamer. She was intense, and so was ODB. ODB is much more laid back, and she's more like go with the flow. But when it came to being in the ring, you know, she meant business. And I was also able to wrestle, you know, Natty Neidhart and Beth Phoenix and a lot of the other ones. And I really am grateful for that time that I had with them. They really helped me improve because I got to work with all different levels of experience. You know, I worked with Kelly when she was brand spanking new, you know, and it's great to watch her grow and see her develop her skill and her talent. And she's really come a long way. But then I also got to wrestle people like Beth Phoenix, who's absolutely amazing, and never once did I ever feel uncomfortable in the ring with her because I knew that even if I screwed up, she was good enough to to cover it and make everything go smooth. So it was a great experience wrestling with them.
For those who just listening right now, you're listening to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio with special guest Jennifer Thomas. Some of y'all may know her as Chloe all over the indie circuit. And of course, she was known for being in OVW as well. Um, got a question in the room, actually a two-part question from Andrew Brownie Master. He wants to know, what is your favorite tag team? That's the first question. And the second question, are you a fan of CM Punk or Randy Orton or both? Those are the questions from Andrew.
Okay, I'll answer the second one. The CM Punk and who else? Randy Orton and
Are
what
you?
was the second?
Yeah, he wants to know if you are you a fan of CM Punk or Randy Orton or both.
I'm a fan of both, but if I have to choose more, you know, one more than the other, I would say CM Punk because I know CM Punk personally because I was in Kentucky with him and I watched him, you know, in OVW and we wrestled together in the ring on occasion and stuff like that. And he's very serious about wrestling. Randy Orton, I find him extremely handsome, and I love his intensity and I love his charisma. He has a ton of it. But I just don't know him personally the way I do with CM Punk. And they're both, you know, great workers, you know, and they both have a lot to bring to the table. And I know that they're going to be able to stay at the top for a long, long, long time. So as far as my favorite tag team, to be honest with you, I don't really have one, to be honest. You know, especially right now, because I haven't really been following, you know, what the latest tag teams are right now. So I couldn't give you an answer on that one.
Well, to tell you the truth, you're really not missing much as far as the tag team division is concerned. It really hasn't been. It's been on a downslide for the last several years. So at least from that standpoint, you're not missing too much.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because, you know, I really liked, gosh, I'm thinking about OVW and as far as the tag teams there, back when I was training with them. And who was it that was tag teaming? It was Chris Cage and somebody else. I think Aaron Stevens. I'm not sure. But I really liked it, those two together when they worked together. But as far as like tag teams, like I said, yeah, I'm not too familiar with the tag teams. So it's good to know that it hasn't been around for a while as far as being as common as it used to be.
All right, I got another question in the chat room. This is from Fozzie, and he wants to know, who are your idols in wrestling?
Well, my idols in wrestling, I would have to say, um, I really like China now, and the reason why I love her so much is because she is one that just is kind of like an OMG, kind of like she's not your pretty cute diva, but she's a total kick-ass, just intense, like scare the shit out of you kind of woman, and I just love that. And I love how she just had all the confidence in the world to know that she can, wrestle with the guys and whatever. And if I wasn't 5'1", if I was just a little bit taller, be like that, that's exactly what I would want to be. I would want to be like a China, because I totally get a rise out of being able to kick a guy's butt. So, but yeah, she's definitely one of my idols.
Do you have any upcoming matches you have coming up?
Not right now. I was offered to go to Mexico to do a tour, but I'm not going to be doing it. And I believe my last show was the Santino Brothers in Bell Gardens, and I more than likely will be on their next, not their next show, but in January, on their card. I haven't been doing a lot of the local pro wrestling shows lately, but I hope to get back into it as far as making it more of a common thing, because we have great promotions out here like EWF and Santino Brothers and, some other ones. So I definitely want to, get back in it. My thing is I'm not with one promotion. I kind of like one of those floater kind of girls that kind of just go everywhere. I don't stick with one.
So,
Yeah.
here's my next question. How can people get in touch with you as far as links is concerned? I know you got your website and maybe you have some social network links. So why don't you go ahead and promote your links and how people can get in touch
Sure.
with you?
Thank you. Okay, well, on Facebook, I'm known as Jennifer Chloe Burley. So you can find me there. And then I have my website, jenniferthomas.net. And really, those are the two main ones where you could find me. And, please feel free to, send me a Facebook message or to send me an email. In my email is russelljennifer@hotmail. So, easy to remember. And, I would love to answer any questions that people may have that don't have the opportunity to ask right now. So I am available.
All right, JenniferThomas.net or .com,
Yes.
and check
Mm-hmm.
that out. Facebook, check her out over there as well. Uh, I got another question here. Got a question from Andrew, and we was talking about OVW a little bit earlier. Um, to be more specific, what do you consider as the biggest highlight of your time? What would consider your favorite moment or favorite match that you've been a part of OVW?
There's been so many great moments at OVW that it's really hard to just choose one. And just even with WWE period, it's just I think one of my best moments was wrestling with Beth Phoenix. Just because I just know how great she is, and it's just a great experience to be able to be in the ring with her, and to also feel the crowd. That's also one great thing about wrestling is it's not about wrestling in itself, but about locking up and shoulder tackle drop down. It's about connecting with the crowd, and when you have a chemistry with somebody, like your opponent in the ring, and you're able to feed off of each other, and then that chemistry kind of filters out to the crowd, and then they kind of you kind of suck them up. And I think that's one of my greatest moments is wrestling Beth Phoenix and being able to feel the energy, because a lot of times, it's not that common. You're just worried so much about doing the moves, and you're worried about making sure that everything is going good, but you fail to work on connecting with the people. And Beth is such a great woman and such a great wrestler that she is able to not only bring that out for herself, she's able to share it. And I really have a great respect for that. And she always keeps a positive attitude, no matter what. Even if shit hits the fan, she always keeps a high spirit about herself, and she always makes things, a learning experience more than pointing fingers and blaming people. And so I admire her greatly. And I would say that match was definitely the biggest highlight of my OVW time there. So, yeah.
Jennifer Thomas joining me here on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio, here on itmiradio.com. Check out her website, check out her Facebook. That's pretty much the only places she has right now. No Twitter or no other social network links, so don't try to fall for the posers or anything like that. She's just, because there are some posers out
Yeah,
there.
I'm behind on the times when it comes to social networking. I try to keep it simple. I can't even keep up with my emails, not alone worrying about Twitter and all those other, places that I can go to. So, but yeah.
All right.
Definitely Facebook. So, one also thing I would like to say is that it's kind of an interesting note because I've never did get a contract with WWE, even though I had plenty of tryouts. One reason why I had to I actually changed my name to Chloe, but I also was known as Karma. And WWE called me and they bought Karma off me to give it to Amazing Kong. So, we hope that Amazing Kong comes back as Karma to WWE after she has her child. But I'm a definite believer in karma, and what goes around comes around. And even though I'm not there in the ring yet with WWE, I believe everything has its own perfect timing and place, and I wait patiently for it. And I appreciate all my fans out there that have stuck with me with the contract, without a contract, my losses, my wins, all the good times and the bad times. I appreciate all my fans out there. So thank you very much.
That is very interesting. You bring that up, considering what she's known as right now and the name you used to have, other than Chloe and Jennifer Thomas. As far as long term, do you see yourself going to WWE, or you want to be a part of TNA? Is that still a goal of yours? Because you was part of OVW when WWE was their developmental system. Now their developmental system for TNA now. Is that still a goal of yours that you want to pursue? Go to either WWE or TNA in the
Yeah.
future?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned because I just did a tryout with WWE. I did when they were here in LA in August for SummerSlam and Raw and SmackDown. I did all three of those, and it's just such a weird experience because I've been training for so long and so hard because that was my major goal to be like in WWE. I didn't really think of TNA. It was all WWE. I wanted to be with WWE. And I've had many email correspondence and many phone calls with Johnny Laurinaitis, and it just never would happen. And I would just kind of like, gosh, what are you looking for? Like I had to feel like I was trying to become somebody that I wasn't. I don't know what WWE looks for as far as it's like there's no rhyme or reason to it. I mean, I train my ass off. I'm in the ring all the time, but maybe I'm just not tall enough, or maybe I'm not, I don't know. But as far as it being my future goal, I kind of actually let it go. Like I said, I think everything has its perfect time and its perfect, its place. I don't want to chase WWE anymore. I'm tired. I think everything is meant to happen for a reason. I still love wrestling, and if they were to come to me, I would definitely give it a shot because there's no way that I took all those bumps and all those slams for nothing. So I would definitely do it, but I'm not going to go to Tampa and go train with them. I'm happy here in Los Angeles. I'm happy to wrestle for whomever calls me and wants me to wrestle their show. But I'm kind of done as far as chasing that.
Well, whatever the future holds for you, definitely wish you the absolute best. You have the X factor, you have the look, you have potential, you have wrestling experience. Unlike some of the current divas that they have, I mean, the only top divas they have are Natalia and Beth Phoenix, and a lot of the current WWE divas are portrayed as models and Barbie dolls. Um, you know.
Yes, I know, and that's what would get me so frustrated because I didn't know all this in the beginning when I first started wrestling. I just figured what you put in is what you get out, and sometimes that's not the case. So, I get really frustrated when, I'm showcasing my talent and I've showing my skills and everything like that, and then I'd find out some swimwear model just got a contract and she doesn't even know how to lock up yet. So, so it could cause a lot of bitter feelings. But again, I try to let those bitter feelings go and just say, you know what? I'm going to actually help this diva. I'm going to call Kelly into the ring, and I'm going to help her do some up and overs. I'm going to help her do some forward and back rolls and whatever, and do the basics and work on the foundation of, the fundamentals of wrestling. I'm not going to look at her as like, oh, she took my job, because you know, if I was a swimsuit model and WWE came knocking at my door, would I say no to them? No, I would do it too. So, I can't judge them. I can't do anything. All I can do is help them, and hopefully helping them helps me move forward too. So yeah, you're right. A lot of the divas don't know exactly how to truly wrestle, but they got the looks. They have the TNA, and they have a great personality. I love Kelly, and I love Rosa, and I liked Maurice, even though she's unfortunately no longer there. Um, but yeah. So
You,
thank you very much for having me on this show too, and you know I
uh,
appreciate it.
I'm definitely happy to have you on, and I like your attitude. You're taking a higher role, and it pretty much motivates you to get better. You know, not everything's gonna get right the first time. It's just a matter of continuing to work hard, and then eventually you'll get that phone call from whatever company it may be. Before I let you go, Jennifer, I ask all guests to do this. It's called Station ID. It's a voice drop. All you have to do is say your name, and after you say your name, you say you are listening to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. I will count to three, and you go ahead and say it.
Okay, sure.
All right. One, two, three.
Hi, this is Jennifer Thomas, and you are listening to Triple Threat Wrestling
Radio.
Radio.
Okay, let's try that one more time.
Sorry.
That's that's okay. That's all right. You're not the first and you're not the last, so you're good.
Okay.
Let's try this one more time. One, two, three.
Hi, this is Jennifer Thomas, and you are listening to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. Good talking to you, Jennifer. Best of success goes out to you going forward. And you have a good night.
Yes, and thank you for having me, and you have a wonderful night yourself. Hopefully we can do this again sometime.
Absolutely. We'll definitely keep in touch.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.
All right. That was Jennifer Thomas joining me here on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. Thank you, Andrew, Fozzy, and Rocket Man and Myth for bearing with me despite the technical difficulties. I did have a segment that I want to debut. I had a new segment I wanted to debut, but due to the technical difficulties, I just don't have the time to do it. So I'll get to debut the new segment hopefully next week. The only good thing that's happened on this show is that the guest actually called in. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to the TNA results. I'm gonna go ahead and get to that. I did not actually watch TNA on Thanksgiving last week. It was Thanksgiving night. There was a lot going on. Um, Fozzy is talking about the WWE 12 video game, and he also says, I wouldn't consider Alicia Fox as a model type diva, but she is quite talented. I definitely agree. Alicia Fox is talented. I'm going to say Beth Phoenix number one, Natalia number two. I would say I'll give Eve number three, Alicia Fox four, Kelly five, as far as wrestling wise. Kelly still has a long way to go. And Fozzy goes on to say, see what happens when the show, see what happens when Jeff don't come, the show loses control. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, the show did turn out fine last week. It's just that my overzealous cousins decided to mess up with my mixer buttons. Yes, I am aware of that, Andrew. Kentucky basketball is number one in the country. I'm going to go ahead and give y'all a TNA short recap. I won't be able to get to the news segment. I'll get to it next week. So here we go. Matt Morgan and Crimson, the new tag team champions, defeated Mexican America. And then get a load of this. Since it was a Thanksgiving show last week, Winter, Angeline Love, and Madison Wayne took on Terror, Brooke Tessmacher, and Velvet Sky in a Thanksgiving Thong Thunder match. Yeah, and people crack on WWE for bra and panties match. Real classy, TNA, real classy. By the way, Terror, Brooke, and Velvet went on to win that match. Robbie E takes on Eric Young in a turkey suit match. Eric Young is your victor on that one. And the main event, Team Storm, which was Mr. Anderson, AJ Styles, Rob Van Dam, and Jeff Hardy, versus Team Angle, Bobby Roode, Bully Ray, Christopher Daniels, and Jeff Jarrett. Team Storm is your winning team. And that was your short TNA portion of the show. I will debut my new segment next week on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. Hopefully Jeff will be here next week. There's a lot of rumors about John Morrison may be on his way out of the WWE. His contract is almost up, and there really hasn't been any talk about him re-signing with the WWE. And if that's the case, it's a huge loss for the WWE. John Morrison's very talented. He's a very entertaining in the ring. He's a highlight reel waiting to happen. If WWE let him go, it is a huge loss in that roster. He's had a lot of highlights, a lot of great matches over the last 2 years. I just wish WWE would wake up and give him a push. Otherwise, he's going to end up going to TNA. That appears to be the assumption. Of course, John Morrison got clobbered by his former friend, The Miz, and he's injured, or at least storyline wise. John Laurinaitis says, we wish you the best of luck. At the moment, John Morrison is still active in the WWE roster. So, Walker Man says he wants to be an actor. I guess that's the direction he wants to do. Last Monday was his last time. If you think about it, The Miz is going after people that he feels holding him back. It was R-Truth and now John Morrison. Who is he gonna go after next? What's his face? Who's he gonna go after next? Wiley? Alex Wiley? Maybe? I mean, think of the twin people. Next week we'll make our picks for the TNA last pay-per-view of the year, Final Resolution. And then the week after that, we'll make our picks for TLC. As of right now, it is Mark Henry versus The Big Show. We may have Ray Barrett versus Randy Orton. Maybe Punk versus Del Rio one more time. Maybe who knows who John Cena's gonna face? It may be him versus Miz. I don't know. That's just speculation. And Beth Phoenix taking on Alicia Fox. And here's a rumor here: Caitlyn, who won NXT, the Diva show last year, been teaming up with AJ. She may end up being the bad girl. And there's been some rumors that Lita may be on her way back to the WWE to confront the Divas of Doom. Just a speculation. Yeah. So I think he has gone for a few months to recover and will come back to WWE. At least I hope so, because he is a true talent. That dude can wrestle. And can I just say this on the holiday special? There are highlights and there are lowlights. Sheamus' highlight, becoming the first Irish-born WWE champion. His lowlight is him being eliminated in the Battle Royal by Hornswoggle. Yes, I'm not joking. Sheamus got eliminated by Hornswoggle. I understand he's there for comedy relief, but are you kidding me? You let him win the Battle Royal? And then for his Christmas wish is to actually talk. We know Hornswoggle can talk all along. His character doesn't allow him to talk. But that was funny when he called Vicky Guerrero his grandma. Vicky Guerrero could never get a break. God, I gotta get that WWE 12 video game so bad. I gotta get that WWE 12. Just seeing Andrew and Fozzy talking about it's making me feel jealous. Yeah, no. I gotta get that game real bad. I just do. Next week on the show, we'll make our picks for TNA's Final Resolution. Hopefully the new segment debuts. Could have been worse. Could have been eliminated by the Kit Kat Bar Michael Cole. Oh, and Wakaman now has it too. So I'm the only person that doesn't have it. Unbelievable. So, with that said, I want to thank Jennifer Thomas for being a guest, and I thank you all on ITMI Radio for bearing with me with the technical difficulties. Thank you everyone for listening. And next week, we have a wrestler by the name of The Great Cheyenne. She will be joining us. And hopefully Jeff will join me next Thursday. And I'm just going to assume he'll join me and Laura on Chilling with Jeff and Kenny C this coming Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Pacific. On that note, I am out of here. Thank you all for listening. You all have a good night. See you this Saturday on Chilling with Jeff and Kenny C. And see you next Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific, on another edition of Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. You all have a good night.